What is going on, Biscuit Box, you silly little landlickers, and anybody else who is curious about learning a little bit about trading? Welcome to the video. Today we are going over how I chart. I consider everything level by level, and I chart based off of high time frame supports and resistances, and let's go over on how I do that. I believe that trading without charting is kind of like shitting without wiping your ass. I mean, you get the job done, but something's gonna feel off a little later. Sooner or later, things might get a little itchy, so to speak. I figured a lot of people in the Biscuit Box trade Solana, and I might as well chart Solana. So we're gonna get into it right now. The do's and don'ts, how I create my lines based off of higher time frame supports and resistances, and then how I ladder them down to really zero in on the most perfect line. Remember that all these lines are areas to look out for, and these lines are not the most perfect price point. Crypto is imperfect, and sometimes it goes a little higher than you think, and it goes a little lower than you think. So that's why I always create boxes in areas. That being said, let's get on to charting. A better trader than myself once told me this phrase right here. I need you guys to understand this. If you trade on a lower time frame, or you plan your trades on a lower time frame, you will end up with a low wallet balance. But if you plan your trades on a higher time frame, you will end up with a higher wallet balance. What I mean is, with crypto being as volatile as it is, planning your trades on higher time frames will always give you a lot better accuracy than if you were to wake up in the morning and look at the 5 or the 15 minute and be like, well, I'm gonna long it here. Always helps to look at the higher time frames. They control the movements, not the lower time frames. The same goes for charting. So we start our chart out on the higher time frames, and then we ladder to the lower time frames as well. Keep in mind, the way I'm showing you for charting on Solana can be used for any asset in crypto. You just have to apply the same method to any other asset. All right, so I recommend when we start charting that we go to the daily, because that way we can pull the daily back and we can see most, if not the whole data set and the history that we have on the coin. Now, I use the term the way back machine a lot, and that means the previous price action. And the previous price action in a coin is super important if you want to trade. For a lot of newbie traders trading these really new, highly liquid shit coins that are like 5 to 6 days old, because there is no data behind them, you will end up getting fucked. That being said, trading a coin with some history behind it, like Sol, Chainlink, XRP, ADA, there's anything else. If you're learning how to trade, or if you want to consistently good trade, trading a coin with some history and some longevity behind it will serve you a whole lot better than trading Harry Potter, Kamala Harris, Cock Potter Inu bullshit. Before I crash out, let's go into charting. So basically what we do first, or what I like to do first, is I like to map out the current bottom at a gold line, and I map out the current top at a gold line. That tells me where the top is, it tells me where the bottom is. Now that we've established the top and the bottom, we now have to establish the health line. This is the middle trend in which the asset does well if it goes above, or it starts breaking down if we go below. So for that point, we're looking at an area in which the price goes through the most, and there's a lot of humps or dumps in that area. So you're looking for a price point in which either the price gets above and we rip, or the price goes below and we dip. And for Solana, that is about, I always say this in my stream, if we can get above 144, 145 on Solana, we do well. If we get below 144, 145 on Solana, we do bad. And yep, that is the current middle health line of this coin. If we're above it, we are doing okay. If we go below it, we start going bear. So now that we have that middle line, because I'm a bear, I like to start creating resistances. When I create resistances, I do it from the way back machine first, and then I go to the current price area. But I'll show you the method to the madness. So we start off, obviously, that is resistance. We peaked out right there. And any area that you see the price wick up and drop down from drastically, I like to call those controlled dumps. The buyers showed up and the sellers were able to be like, nah, not today, buddy. So you are going to mark those as well. Keep in mind, you can start off on the weekly as well, as long as you also ladder down. Personally, myself, I start on the daily. What I'm doing is I'm going down, and every area that you see the price pop up to and shit down from, you're going to mark a line. Pop up to and shit down from, you're going to mark a line. You could create a line right here at 177, 180. I'm going to mark that gold because usually if Solana gets above 144, it runs up to 180. So that is also a super important area for Soylanta. As we go down, we create red lines every time there is an area of resistance. And we follow that thinking all the way down till we've reached the bottom. We can now move over and start worrying about where is support. Now keep in mind, any area that you mark as support can also become resistance later in the future. Same thing with areas that are resistance, they can become support later in the future. So you have to have a flexible mind about what support and resistance are. That's the reason why I like to call them levels. It's all levels at the end of the day. There's levels to this shit. So now we're going to start marking supports. And supports are obviously any area the price likes to push down and we rocket up. It is the same thinking behind your resistance levels. And sometimes as you go forward in the time machine, you will have to turn the red lines that you made green because we turned resistance into support. And right here, put another one right there. So I like to mark every gold. Any gold line that you see is important. We can get above these gold lines, we do well. If we get below these gold lines, we tend to go lower. So every gold line you see on a chart is a health line, in my opinion. Getting above those lines are boss fights. In order for price action to continue, these areas need to get broken or a base needs to get created above them for continuations. Most of the time, waiting for a health line to get tested is usually waiting for a really good position. But let's get back to the charts. So far, we are marking every area on the daily. I feel confident in what I've marked out for the daily. Also, you got to mark where the death is. If we break down below $100 on Solana, actually, if we break down below $94 on Solana, there's a good chance of death. So we marked it out on the daily. From here, we switch down to the 4-hour. So now that we're on the 4-hour, all that we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to clean up our lines a little bit. Tops of wicks. Let's keep 180. Let's put that up just a little bit higher to the candle body. 182. And we're going to keep going down and we're going to clean up all of our lines if we need them cleaned up. A little bit of resistance at 168. Also turn into support. We can mark that. And then sometimes when you are on lower time frames, you will see other important areas that you'll have to mark based off of data that runs through that area. So what I do is once I go to the 4-hour, we go down, we start cleaning up our lines. 180. Mm-hmm. We clean that shit up. What I do is I pull it up to the highest part of the wick on the 4-hour. If it is resistance, if it is support, I bring it down to the lowest part of the wick on the 4-hour. Or create another support if I have to, which it looks like I have to right here. And keep going back in time, see how all the levels look, if there's support on it, if it's resistance on it, and keep going back all the way to the Wayback Machine. If that looks good, we now go to the 1-hour. And we do the same thing over and over and over again. If it looks good, don't touch it. Mm-hmm. 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 Create another little area of resistance right here. You don't have to mark every area the price pops up to. It's just significant ones. And once the 1-hour looks good to you, you go down to the 15. This is kind of the painstaking part, and this is like the really like, oh, this is monotonous. But this is where the method to the madness really comes in. You go down to the 15 and you keep going over, you keep looking over at your prices. Are all your price points jiving with the lines that you drew, the levels? Do they correspond with important stalls, dumps, moves, areas we consolidated, areas that we straight up went into free falls? So you're just going to keep looking, see if all your tops do their thing, all their bottoms do their thing, and keep going over. We are now over in the highs that we used to have. We set 295. Cool. All right. I like what I see. Awesome. So now that I like what I see on the 15, I go to the weekly and see if those lines also jive with weeklies, and they do. As you chart, you'll see areas of open space. Those are kind of, you know, if we break this area, we rush up to this area, break down in this area, we rush down to that area type shit. So keep that in mind. There doesn't always have to be consistent lines. These levels are very inconsistent sometimes. But for right now, this is what I am very confident on for all the important levels. Once I have all of the charts looking good and I feel like I like the levels and the color code is good and I feel like all the health lines are out, what I do is I start naming lines. All right, so based off the charts and watching this chart for a long time, I've now named levels. Obviously, the top, possible run if this is broken, perfect area to spring a trap. If we do break above 278 into this 280 region, there's a good chance that we bottomed and we're gonna rip up higher. But nothing is promised in crypto, and I've seen a lot of traps get sprung, so I like to think of everything by levels, and I like to name my levels. All right, so now we have everything named out. We like the way our lines look. They all correspond with an area we've either created resistance or support. This is what I do, and this is where the magic happens, honey boo-boos. The way my indicators work is all my indicators are level-based. So what I do is I turn my indicators on, and I start looking for confluence on higher time frames. Which areas does support and resistance run through?
Where do we need to break above? Where are my Watsons resting on? Are the Watsons getting weaker? Are the Watsons curving up? Do we have a potential to break out if we do break above this? So all of that stuff goes into account. And right now, the way Solana looks, it's not looking bad. It's not looking that good either, but it is above signs of life. It is above 176, so that is good. But right now, what we need to do is break above 189 to break a 206. If we do break 206, there's a high chance we get around this in these areas. I do think 218, 219 would be a good area to trap people, but a better area would be 242. A lot of people psychologically would be like, oh, we're so back, and it would run up high enough to where a lot of liquidity would get drowned. So 30%-ish, that's usually where I would like to create a box or a short. Never perfect, but it does line up with areas that we have had a lot of downward pressure. Point that out a little bit. The box gets me ready for the area. Remember, price can always go a little bit higher than you think, a little bit lower than you think. Nothing's perfect in crypto, so trying to be perfect is what fucks a lot of people up in the beginning. And let's go to the 3-day as well real quick, see how that jives. Yeah, if we break this Ichi, we might run a little bit. We broke a downward trend. Remember, guys, for trends, we are looking for 3 points of contact and elongate. So basically on this 3-day, we definitely broke the 3-day downward trend, but we aren't out of the ballpark yet. If we do break around this middle area, we do have a good chance of ripping up. So very, very key areas for Solana right now. I would be watching your higher time frame RSI, your stochastics. If the daily is bottomed out and curving up on the stochastic, you do have a chance of going up more. We are not below 50, which means the RSI is still pretty strong. So, you know, poetic justice would be to rip it up to these levels. So all of the Solana retards would be like, look, Solana's so good. And that's where I would most likely be thinking about taking a position. On the flip side, it looks like the downward pressure has been pretty much absorbed. We've consolidated in these regions for a very long time. But if we did go down, I would try to plan along in these regions. Keep in mind that planning a short and a long, these areas could never get touched, or we could go to this area and break down more. So that's where wallet management and risk management come into your strategy. Planning is one thing, but planning without any type of risk management is fucking insane. I highly suggest always using risk management. Just planning a position and then throwing all your money behind it is a quick and easy way of losing all your money, because this crypto shit is, at the end of the day, super unpredictable. It is good to have an educated guess, though. Quick little side note for drawing trends, you guys. I enjoy drawing trends on the 27. I do candle body. I find one area where we bottomed out. It's 3 points of contact for any trend. So you go bottom where we started going up. So I go from the bottom of the green candle if I'm charting the trend from the bottom, and then I go to another bottom, and then I go find a top candle body and I chart that. So this is the trend we are in right now on Sol. Trend is your friend until it's not. So basically, if we can keep going the way we do, bounce off 186, we might have a good chance of going and retesting 196, or keeping in this trend all the way up until we catch some good volume up. The flip side also works too. If we break out or fall out of this trend, we do have a good chance of going and retesting another area, maybe double bottoming or going to a deeper retest. Also works really well if you do another trend. So I like to do 3 points of contact, bing, bang, boom. So if we fall out of this trend, there's a good chance that we start reacting with this downward trend that was established. That's how I like to think about trends. Trend is your friend until it's not. Break out of one trend, you go and you try to retest another trend. So it helps to create trends, not just one, but multiple. And you will see how over time, by creating these trend lines, they will react to each other. So for instance, let's say Sol gets weak soon. We might just go down and retest this area, go up, think, bow, do some stuff like that. Levels and trends are all basically just meme lining, but you're going to be amazed how many times just by creating levels or these trend lines that they will help you in your trade. Just by understanding trends and levels, you will definitely know whether or not we're trapped in bullishness, trapped in bearishness, whether or not your position could print more, or whether or not you should get out of your position. So if you have any questions on trends or levels, I highly suggest you ask me in the Discord and we can get into that a little bit more. Not only that, but if you want to know a little bit more about RSI and stochastic RSI in the Discord, I do have little blurbs for people to read and understand how I use it. I will be making a video on it later, but reading it first will help your brain understand a little bit better. And for those of you looking for a place to trade crypto every day, look for a group of like-minded individuals without the dick measuring and weird incel energy that is in the crypto space, come join the Biscuit Box. It is 100% free. It costs you nothing but a little bit of your effort. We are fairly new, so we are growing very well, and we're a pretty good community. There's a lot of people in there that have become very profitable very fast, and they are learning and they're getting good. And it's free. I do daily market updates, video market updates. You get notifications for when I go live on Twitch and all that good stuff. If something crazy happens in the market, I will let you know. For those of you that are in the Biscuit Box that came and watched this, I really appreciate all of you guys. If you haven't given me a follow, please give me a follow, like, subscribe, all that good shit. If you're not part of the Biscuit Box, join the fucking Discord, you fucking silly little landlicker. Other than that, I'll see you guys around. Bye.